Welcome to the TroopHR podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradley. Fresh out of the Arizona desert, I wanted to take a moment with you, the listener, to reflect on my experience at the 2026 TroopHR Retreat. Let's begin with the name. Years ago, Tracy would often correct me when I use other terms to describe the retreat. But every year I return, I come to more fully appreciate her intentionality. She has created an environment where HR leaders from diverse backgrounds, industries, and roles come together to simply be with one another, to share companionship, and to build new relationships while deepening the old ones. Over the years, I've learned something I felt again the moment I stepped off the plane in Phoenix. I arrived with my wants from the retreat in hand, neatly ordered and named. But it's not my wants that meet me there. I stumbled into my needs, unbidden and unexpected. And yet, they find me all the same. When they do appear, quietly, almost unannounced, they restore something deeper. In the lives shaped by constant pressure, we seldom grant ourselves the space to notice what is missing. The retreat has a quiet way of bringing that into view. The sessions themselves were remarkable, a window into human nature as much as professional growth. The agenda was thoughtful and energizing, blending the practical, meaningful topics with moments to reset through breathing and meditation. And then, as humans tend to do, we made it our own. Some followed the schedule to the letter, soaking up the intentions behind the sessions. Others drifted into the hallways with laptops, intending to catch up on work, only to get pulled into the unexpected conversations that mattered far more. Some just used the retreat as a moment to breathe, to reset from the pressures of their lives. That's what Tracy and Nicole have created. An experience that offers both structure and the freedom to choose your own path without judgment or obligation. You can lean into every session or step into conversations that matter more in the moment. Either way, it's valid. The balance creates space for real vulnerability, genuine connection, and quiet realization that the challenges we carry aren't ours alone. And somewhere within that freedom, there's also room for joy in the unexpected. Here's a few stories that stuck with me. First, the infamous jumping cactus, also known as the chala cactus. I've learned it doesn't actually jump, but it might as well. Its spiny little segments seem to have a particular affinity for HR professionals. Poolside in the cabanas, we heard story after story of peaceful HR hikers that ended up with an unexpected +1 attached to someone's shoe or arm. Don't worry, everyone made it out fine. There's no scars, but just great stories. As someone that firmly ended up being in the laptop in the hallway crowd, one thing I had a deep appreciation for and was humbled to witness was the level of preparation that the speakers that led your sessions and the keynotes take before they enter that room with you. The level of care they bring is real. It's hours of preparation, agonizing over individual words, refining their message and their craft, all to make sure the time you spend with them matters. And then one night, we were transported, not just by a bus, but to the stars. Between cocktails and dinner, an astronomer took us on a journey through the galaxy, blending sharp humor with a self-evident, genuine passion for their craft. Through the telescope, that of course likely cost more than not just my first car, but probably my first 5 cars combined, we got a glimpse into something much bigger than ourselves. And as I learned from the hotel staff, the astronomer doesn't just get asked about the constellations, but also, quite frequently, about their relationship status. Now, I won't confirm whether that curiosity came from our group or not, but let's just say people were seeing if the stars might align. Then there was the food. Yes, it was incredible, but the conversations around it were even better. The first night, our table turned waiting for dinner into a full-on game, reacting like a stadium crowd every time a plate got close to our table, only just to veer off to another table at the last second. And not all the moments were light, though. Some conversations were grounding in a different way, like hearing from someone who had just been laid off a week before unexpectedly. And yet she still came, not to rush into networking or what's next, but they came to reset, to recharge. And there was something to me that was really powerful in that. The week itself took as many twists and turns as we did, eventually leading us to water slides. Yes, that's right, water slides. And of course, the dance floor. And after 3 of these retreats, I can say each one becomes its own story, unfolding in ways you can never quite imagine. A question I get a lot is how I found my way to Troop. The truth is, I didn't know Tracy or Nicole. I simply asked someone to grab a coffee in DC, just to meet people in the HR community there. She said yes. We met at DuPont Circle, and somewhere in that conversation, she kept talking about community that she was in. Skeptical of the variety of HR communities that I've joined and then fell out of in the past, I then asked, sure, what community are you a part of? And she said, TroopHR. I'll be honest. At first, I was just like, sounds like another community. I tried that before. But she spoke about it with such conviction that I gave it a shot. At first, I was hesitant. What do I post in the groups? What do I post about myself? What if I sound like an idiot? But one day, I had a challenge I hadn't quite faced before, and I took the leap. Almost immediately, people reached out. Offers to hop on Zoom, real support. I felt it, that sense of community that I heard about back in DuPont Circle. Over time, that turned into spending the first retreat I went to at Amelia Island with some great people, great conversations, and yes, great pina coladas. Then Naples, where I learned from incredible leaders and walked away with ideas that I still use today. But more than anything, what I've come to value most about TroopHR is the people. Tracy, Nicole, and all of you. Even if we didn't meet directly, your presence was felt. New connections formed naturally, almost like a jumping cactus, unexpected, but somehow exactly right. I didn't leave the desert with a sense of ending. I left with a sense of renewal. I'm grateful for this community, and honestly, I'm shaped by it. Out there in the desert, I found something I didn't know I was looking for. I found you, my troop, and I can't wait to see all of you next year. Thank you for listening, and thank you for allowing me to learn from you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the TroopHR podcast. If you've liked this episode, we would encourage you to like and subscribe. If you would like to learn more about the TroopHR community, you can reach out to troophr.com. In the meantime, keep living the dream.